Hello everybody, I hope it's working here. We've got the audio theoretically working. It is very hot here today. We are, well, not as hot as it is in Dallas. Scott was telling me it's like 108. We are not that bad, but it is warm. I had a few errands to run this morning and it was beastly. It's humid. We actually have some sort of storm coming, which I guess is going to make it we're going to have some potential rain, which will probably be good, and definitely have cooler temperatures. So I'm hoping that that works out. Today, I am going to be painting the new Marvel United Spider-Geddon that I got. Let me see if I can show the box. Mr. Prepared here. I was looking at it. I think I moved it because it was over here. To my left, and it is not there. Let me see. I'm not even plugged into the audio, so what the heck did I do? It's been a weird day. We've had nothing but problems. I had a couple of, oh, here it is. It's way over here. I had a couple of issues today with, that is not it. That is some of it. Oh, here it is. I remember now. Made space for it. So this is the Marvel United Spider-Geddon, which will be available, I guess, in October now. It was supposed to be like soon, and I think there were some delays. So it looks great, and I think it's going to be fun. goofy people here. And you know, these are some of the minis I chose not to do so far. I'm very excited about this one. This is pretty massive. Will be the biggest small figure, because I mean I have Sentinels that are big. And then so what I did is I decided to go with like, oh, there they go again. Boy, I'm just having the best of luck today. There's the cube. I wonder why that fell. I was trying to airbrush this morning, and it's very hot. And so I focused on just getting the stuff together as quickly as possible to get going. And I decided to use a new airbrush since I have so many, try out different ones. And I tried one of my finer airbrushes because I was going to do a little bit of detail work. I have the Sotar, which I really love, and but I didn't use it. I used the Badger Patriot Extreme 105 that I have, and it was missing I showed it on the stream. So the threaded, it's like a Mac knob on the bottom of the airbrush that allows you to adjust how much air pressure you're getting. That screw was missing. So then I started working on it, trying to find the part, and then I bent the needle. I was very happy about that. So I had to order a new one, which I did, and I think that's already shipped. So it'll be pretty good. You know, it's, I don't know, like $7 or $8. Not too expensive, but frustrating, and I didn't actually get to use it. So I still never used that airbrush. I did change the trigger for it a little while back, and maybe that's when I somehow lost that screw. So I had to get a new needle, and I had to get that screw thing. So hopefully that'll be all here soon, and I would like to try that one. A friend bought the Patriot 105, which is probably a better choice for most folks. The 105 Extreme is a fine needle, and it has no protection. So let me see if I can show you an airbrush here that, let me cut to the down shot. I've already started monkeying with the Spider-Man, what is this one called? Noir, of course. Was trying the, so this is the one that fell. And the needle's in there right now. It's not that bad, but it's bent. I was able to straighten it out so it didn't destroy anything else, but this is the part that's missing. I could have just plugged it up, and I should have, and just used it. But I went through all this other stuff, and then I don't know what I was doing, but I had it in my lap down on the floor here and dropped it and bent the needle. So that is one of the things you absolutely have to look out for. Thankfully, when you buy like Badger and Iwata and Pache and, you know, Harder and Steenbeck, you can get the parts very simply. When you have the Chinese ones, I have no idea what you're going to be getting. Let me show you one of the ones that I think would probably be a better one. This is not it. This is a 105 Anthem, a 155 Anthem. So I honestly believe this is a variant of the one I have from my youth. And I think the 105 is also a variant of one of the ones I have from my youth. Let me show you the Iwata that I have. So this one, so if it were to fall, I mean, it might, I mean, it was a very small, light fall onto the laminated floor I have here. And this one would protect it. The needle does not come out. And that may be a case for this one, or this is an Iwata Eclipse HPS CS. It is not cheap. These are around $140. The Badgers are considerably cheaper, and, well, not considerably, they can be cheaper. The one that my friend John bought was yeah, see, this has protection as well. It has a little fork. So one of these would have been better. Definitely don't do it in your lap. And of course, when it fell, I knew exactly where it fell. I'm like, oh, fell on the needle, I'm in trouble. Super bummer, but not that big of a deal. And you know, the parts, I think I spent $20 including shipping, so not that big of a deal. Now, I got a great deal at the convention. Gen Con last week, I got these So any money I saved on these, I probably blew on getting new parts. But these are Sotar needle sets. And I actually probably could use some of these parts. I think this needle here is the same. I believe it is. And this is what I ordered. But I don't want to fiddle with it, and I want to leave this as a set. Now you'll notice here, this is a very tiny part. This is the nozzle. Here is the nozzle on the Badger. It's much, I mean, they're both Badgers. On the Extreme Patriot 105. I mean, it's still fragile, as you can tell. You know, the nozzle's fine, but the needle is definitely bent, and that's a bummer. You know, you want to be cautious. Definitely do it on a flat surface. Do not follow my poor advice there. I don't know what I was doing. So this one's actually kind of a cool miniature to do because, well, first of all, I airbrushed it and tried to do some of the shading, like it's not in focus. Some of the shading, like it did on the Kickstarter. They recently put out the painted minis, which I was very excited to see. I always love it because it's a great reference, especially for me when I don't have a lot of knowledge of the comics. And we didn't see the new Spider-Man yet, which is a bummer. I would love to see it, but it was just, the timing has all been bad this summer for seeing movies. We did see the Indiana Jones movie well after it was on, you know. I think it was before the cruise. But we did see it. I mean, it was not that, and you know, the movie didn't do that well and all that, which is unfortunate. There was some good things about it, but oh wow, look at that. See, there's some molding and mold lines. I tried. I actually spent some time on it this morning before I painted, which I really shouldn't have. I should have focused on getting out to beat the heat because it was pretty bad. So yeah, I like the, you know, this is a grayscale miniature. Let me see if I can show you. That's Derek. But yeah, this is grayscale, so I thought this would be fun to do. It's different from anything that I've done so far. So let's see how it goes. I don't know that I will be as detailed as this one here, but I love it. I love the shading and stuff. So I wanted to initially try to use the, have to have Mandalorian hold my phone, use the Apothecary White. I can never remember the name of this paint, and see how it worked for me, because it's not been ideal for a lot of stuff that I've done, but this seems like come on, focus. This seems like it'd be something I'd really like to do. You know, I think that would be good on it, and it already looks pretty good. I was very happy. It's tonally similar to what's going on with the 3 different colors of shade I did. So that was the other issue this morning. I was using a different airbrush, another Badger airbrush that I have used, and boy, the paint, you definitely have to, it's empty now, and maybe that was some of the issue. It clogged up, and it was very frustrating because it should not have. Like, I had shaken it quite a bit, so I shook it for a long time before going ahead and trying to paint with it again. So I had to clean it out, get the paint out. So it had a similar needle to this one, a nozzle to this one of my other Badgers, and I'm hoping that, you know, the needle, I mean, that's the issue. I like buying things in a set because then you know that the needle and the nozzle and everything matches. So I would have just bought a new nozzle with that needle, but they did not have any in stock. But that's my biggest concern. I don't know how, you know, there isn't a lot of, so I will say about Badger, it is probably one of the things that's not great about their stuff, that they don't really tell you what, they just say medium, fine, and heavy, and they don't tell you what size that nozzle is or the needle, and that's a little frustrating. But I actually should really look at these here and see how they compare, because it is 3 different sizes, fine, medium, and heavy. But I'd like to know the size, you know, that way I know for sure that I'm getting the right one. I actually went to the Van Exploded View and ordered it. I ordered the screw that's missing, which has got to be around here somewhere. I ordered the screw from Spray Gunner, and I ordered the needle from another company that I never heard of, but they sent it's already out. It's already on its way from this morning. But it's pretty cool. Let's see here. I've got a message to Derek here. But yeah, it's been it's interesting to have all that gear, you know what I mean, that I can, you know, experiment with each one. I have used the paint getting dried up. I mean, slightly, when I looked at it, it was kind of chunky, like it shouldn't be. Now these bottles, I've had this paint in these bottles for probably a few months. I keep refilling them. And this one is absolutely, it's got to be almost entirely out, which is fine. I've got 16-ounce bottles of this paint. I really do like the primer. It doesn't usually require, thinning, which is fantastic. And that was the thing at first. I thought, is this airbrush got some issues with it? But it was perfectly fine. So yeah, let's see how this one goes. It has some light lines that I've kind of already sort of overly sprayed, you know what I mean? I have some more like moonlight essentially. Now these aren't as white as I would normally like the minis to be. I'll show you here. This is Luke Cage, you know what I mean? I decided to have it be darker. I really wanted it to be grayscale. And this one here is anti-venom. I really want him around if I get bitten by a snake. But he's also pale. And then Spot is pale, which I'm dying to paint this one. I just wanted to do the gray. So I may do a little bit of this here too soon. I want to paint the spots as black as possible. And I'm almost tempted to try some other paints. I have Black 3.0, which is very matte, but the problem is if you put, and very super black, if you put a varnish on it, it won't be the same, right? It's not going to be the same level of black. So I have to decide whether I want to try to go for that, because I feel the oils from your hands will destroy it as well. So, but I'm excited to paint this one as well. It's not as black again. I mean, as white as I would normally undercoat, but because like here I have Silk, and she's dark, right? It's mostly her hair is very dark, so I'll probably put a thin down, maybe basilicanum gray on it to leave it be dark, and then this one is. What is his name? It's all different Spider-Man. This one's Symbiote Spider-Man. Spider-Man. He works at a bank. Or he's a lawyer. That's better. Lawyer. But yeah, they should be cool. And I did, as you can see, I tried on the Symbiote Spider-Man, it has, the web is very white. So I figured I would try to use, you know, as airbrush as much as possible and not get too much on the miniature. And so this is fun. Like I've never done all like black and white kind of style stuff. So I thought I would try these different ones today and see how it all works out. This is weird here. I thought I cleaned all that, but I wonder if that's a bit of, this was the first one I was painting, and I was actually, when it wasn't coating, it was the one I was like, wow, is this gonna be oh, it is something on here. So that might be a little fleck of paint. I'll have to see if I can touch that up. But yeah, I wasn't getting coverage. I'm like, wow, you know, I really, you have to paint when it's not hot. And you could do it inside, but I really don't like doing that stuff inside. You could paint inside. The issue is, you know, you have to have a ventilator, and you really should have a ventilator. And also, don't want to get it on the gear. And this is, I have everything to paint here, so it would be kind of a bad idea, I think. So I did not do it in here. But the problem is I thought for sure that it was drying instantaneously as I was working, but it wasn't that. And it wasn't drying that fast because I was waiting between coats. And I really wanted to paint this yesterday, but I did not have. I had some stuff I was working on, and it was we had the GameNight come out this week, which is for ISS Vanguard, and it's a 3-hour and 20-minute episode. It's a beast, and it was longer than that, of course, in the uncut. Like, because we were checking things and sleeving stuff. There's so much stuff to sleeve, so we would take breaks to sleeve things as we were coming up on it. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, I'm glad we actually did it, and we had been trying to do it for months. We actually filmed it a couple months ago before we left for BGG Spring, I think. But it was a bit of an edit, and I had to have Derek. Wanted to let him just work on it as he had time, because to give himself a break from it, because it's really terrible. It's just too long. That's my problem with long episodes, is I've edited them many times, and it took me 2 weeks to edit, in the evenings, but it took me 2 weeks to edit this war of mine, and that was really hard. It was really cool, but it was really hard. And I think that was the first one that one of the two. I think that one, or probably actually, because I think it took us almost 5 hours to do Carnival Zombie. And it didn't. I think it came out to about 2-3 hours or something like that. But it was just a lot of editing and a lot of fixing things. Because when you're playing those deeper games, you have to look up the rules, and you don't want that on the video. It's just too much. Like if there's some question, because you got a bunch of smart players around, and they'll ask a question that I'm not plugged into this darn thing. I can't hear any of this stuff. It's quiet in here, Scott. It's true. I don't know that anybody's. It's funny. We had so many people watching when we did our live stream on Tuesday. It was great. Lots of European folks, which was cool. Let's see here. But yeah, I'm excited about this. All the new stuff. I mean, I don't know when it's going to be months away before the multiverse Marvel United comes out. But I believe this is multiverse, right? Because it's a billion different Spider-Men. So Spider-Mans, Spider People, because there's lady ones in here too. We've got Silk, who really looks cool. It's a great looking mini. I'm eager to paint that one as well. There's a bunch of great ones though in that new one. Of course, I spilled everything, so too hard to pull it out right now. But yeah, I'm impressed at how good the Apothecary White, which is, there's no whites in the. This is the whitest color in the contrast paints. I was getting our tickets for BGG Con starting on the 15th of November. And I ordered a shirt, which I never do. We've been running, it claims they have the inventory in there, so maybe they've already ordered the shirts. I really loved the last one. That was the octopus. I've worn this shirt a couple of times on GameNight Live. But it was such a great design. And we did not have enough. So I think they had another print run and got them out to the folks that they didn't have enough for. I think you could buy them, and the people that had pre-ordered it, it was bad. But I need to order one for Nikki. She's the one that, they'll only do the ladies' sizes in the initial run. And so I need to figure out about getting her one. Don't do that. Slippery hand. But it's been crazy. We've definitely had a lot, dealing with, Nikki's had a cold. Hey, thanks for the follow. Pawn Nugget. Nikki has a sore throat. She played with us, we did the stream on Tuesday, and she did okay, but it's not bad. She's not really bad, but it's still frustrating for her to have that happen. What else has been going on? I've been doing okay. We've just been trying to get things done around the house, and while we have some time, we're here for a little more than a month, and then we go again to Essen. which will be cool. I just don't, you know, it's the travel part. But I am excited about going to BGG Con, not spring. Already did spring. I just can't believe it's coming up. I haven't booked a flight yet, which I need to do. We have some things we want to do. Scott has some stuff for me to work on. Okay, let's see here. I got anti-venom. Anti-venom. I did watch, I did read a Marvel comic recently, but it was the Blade Runner comic from 1982, and that was interesting. I had never read that. It was kind of cool to see what they were doing for that. There is some differences from the final, what they did, well, the many versions of the movie, and that was cool. So right now I'm actually painting, thanks for the follow, Pond Nugget, or the subscription. Thank you so much, and thanks for the support. I used titanium, gosh, oh, here it is, transparent white. So this is a stronger white color. It's from Pro Acryl Monument. I really like it. I don't use it that often, but it's a stronger white than the Apothecary white. So I use them together. So what I did is I painted the little reflections on the glass, and then painted with the Apothecary white. Let me put that in the stand so it doesn't fall down. And then I went over it with the all the fun. Wow, thanks, Pond Nugget. Really appreciate the support. I hope that I'll finish till it's done. I hope you have fun watching. I'm having a fun time painting, just getting going, but I really appreciate your support. So yeah, we're I looked at this to see if people could get it, you know, like, of course it's not available, but somebody's selling it on eBay for $150. I'm like, just be patient, it'll be here soon enough. But they didn't have that many. I think it was a few hundred copies at Gen Con. I was very happy to be able to buy one because I want to paint them, even though I still have almost the entirety of the X-Men Marvel United to paint. So, I don't know. I might need to just use some thinned down white. I'm not really sure. I've been watching you guys for a long, long time. Thank you so much. We had a purple table cover. Oh my gosh. So that's the first, I think that's just the first, that might be the first 2 seasons, but season 3 was when we finally moved into the studio. That was a tablecloth Nikki made too, which was a great one. But thank you for supporting us. The new, BGG has a new sleeve, board game sleeving tool that we finally introduced. It's been in the works for a while. They had to, you know, bring the database over from Adam Kranzel's work. He has a humongous geek list that was being updated. It was fantastic. The problem was whenever there was an update, it was a mass, it like slowed the system down because it was affecting the geek list in general, I believe. And so it's good that it finally is part of the database, and Adam's going to still help manage that. Gosh, I really like that black. I mean the gray. Let me get some real black out here. I've got a couple of them. I brought all the blacks and whites of the contrast paints and that transparent white. But it's a really cool tool, and I'm excited to really wonder if I should be using Templar or Black Legion. I don't think I've used, it looks like I've used it, but I don't think I've really used Black Legion. Let me shake it up a bit, even though I shook all of them a lot earlier. But yeah, this is a cool looking mini. This is an interesting black. I really like the Black Templar, is that what it is? Black Templar. But this is different. It's one of the newer colors that came out last year in the second wave of contrast paints. But I really like it. I don't know, that's too strong though. Let's see. Well, that's good though. But I think it might be a little too strong. Too wet. The real challenge was on that episode was we have problems with, let me get some real white here. I've got the titanium white, bold titanium white, which is really one of the best whites I've ever tried. Oh, we got the sea salt and paper. So right now I'm painting the, I know how to do that now. Scott showed me the stuff for it. Ugh. This is a great white, but great white shark. Now I have a napkin here somewhere that I'm using to wipe stuff with. There it is. It's funny though, that tablecloth. That was one of, so there was a Geek Starter, which was a April Fool's joke that Scott did. And we put in our Geek Starter campaign was to get a new tablecloth that was even more insane than the one we had. There was a bunch of fun stuff on that. The Geek Starter page is long gone. But you can see some of that stuff if you go to my gallery, my user gallery on BGG. All that stuff is on there. It's pretty funny. We just had a great time doing it all. Because Aaron used to wear, he still wears them, but wore his golf shorts. We were saying we'd get, oh gosh darn it. We were saying we'd get more golf shorts and for everybody or something like that. And we used to have Lego in the, well, we still have Lego in the background. The Millennium Falcon is in the background. Joke about a Lego slush fund, and it was fun. That was actually 2013, so kind of the beginning of Kickstarter stuff. It was really funny. There's a lot of images. We had problems with like Nikki's. She's not that soft of a speaker, but whatever. We didn't have her microphone up high enough, and so we joked that we'd actually turn on her microphone. And all the stretch goals. All the stretch goals were for us, not really for the audience. Although there was one that you could play via phone or something, or this could be you, or I don't know, we had all kinds of goofy stuff. That was truly fun to do. I think that might be too strong. We don't do the April Fool's stuff anymore. That turned into, I think the last one that I remember was one where I was out in Dallas to help with it. We were doing a server repair and upgrades and stuff, and it just turned into a complete nightmare. So that we were out for the weekend. I mean, I was visiting for a little bit of a long weekend, and Scott was working night and day to get it done. So I barely hung out with him. It was a bummer. Let's see here. maybe a bit of the Basilicanum Gray, the bad Basilicanum Gray that I have. It is very dry, warm here, so everything's drying kind of quickly, which is unfortunate because I can't really do some of the blending I would normally try to do. It was interesting that they did not actually release the main multiverse box early like they normally do to retail, CMON. And this is actually Spin Master. I believe this is I mean, CMON developed it and put it together, but it wasn't. It's actually just a yeah. It's just a Spin Master release. And it was cool. They said during the campaign that they wouldn't be doing that and they would be putting this out. So that was cool. Let us get a little bit of bright spot here, if I can do this without making too much of a mess. Right at the bottom of these little glares. It's a little strong. But I think that'll be good. Wow, that white is very strong. Good white, and it goes on pretty well. So what I've done there is I made a mess, too much, so I'm just wicking it off and I'll put it back on when that all dries so it doesn't spread. I don't mind that. It's like, you know, there's supposed to be like, I think, night glasses, night vision or something, and so it's okay that it's bright because they have that weird amplifying the light stuff. Okay, let's look at the gun here. The what do they call those? It's got a name for that type of where it's shooting the grappling hook, I guess is what it is, grappling hook gun. I just talked to Dave for about an hour. He had been away on a trip, a second trip. He went to Germany earlier this summer, and several of the same people. They used to do roller coaster trips, and Dave, I mean, really did them when he was younger, and it was like part of the Coaster Association of America or something like that, and so they had gone to Europe together, he and his friend Phil, and they went to they went to Spain. They went to the World's Fair or the World Expo or something like that a long time ago with Phil's wife, and Phil's wife went to this trip too. She doesn't usually go on these. And they did, you know, they saw some amusement park stuff, but they also do a lot of museums. And so that was not that long ago. And then he went to the Kansas City area for some more museums and one amusement park. But they went with one of the other guys that they do, another friend that Phil has made in the museum. He's designs museum exhibits, and he's worked on amusement park rides and stuff like that. So it's perfect for Dave because he loves that stuff. But he does not ride that many things anymore. His eyes, he has one of his eyes that's had some troubles, and he just doesn't want to hurt him, so he does not do it very often. Which, you know, I mean, that's the smart thing to do. You don't want to mess up your vision. But he's doing good. It was good to hear from him. I hadn't talked to him for about a month. Cool. I feel like I should be painting a bright spot on the edge of the hat too. I don't know if that's really critical, but I'm going to do it. I like the hat though, it's pretty cool. A little much there. Soften that a bit. Now onto the gun. Do some more of these reflections. It looks a little stripy. It is pretty stripy on the picture too, but it is weird that Nikki got this sore throat because we can't figure out how she got it. I don't think it was from the convention. It was, we were home a week before she had it. So it's not con crud, as they call it. But hopefully it'll be over soon. It used to be that she would always get, well, not always, but most of the time get sick at a convention, and she does not as much anymore. We have a humidifier in the room. Oh, look at that. And that helps bounce back. She also was not talking like, you know, normally she's working a booth, and she's not talking as much as she normally does at those. And so, it's easier for her not to get sick. Wow, the water, it is very dry. Well, warm. It's actually not that dry. It's pretty humid, but it is, my wet palette is running out of water quickly. oh my gosh, I think we talked about them, but I saw the minis for the Marvel United. So they're not the completed, you know, the final minis. They're the resins, but holy cow, they were so good looking at the booth at Gen Con, at the Spin Master booth. I wished I actually had more time to look at them. I meant to come back and check it out, but I just couldn't. Had too much to do, and I didn't want to get in the way actually, because you know there had a lot of people wanting to get the game. But man, they were phenomenal. They look great in the photos, and they look even better in real life. Really, really amazing. Brush already has a bit of a hook. I must be just the terrible painter here. I don't quite understand why. I'm really kind of delicate with it, but who knows. Put a little bit of light on the top here, since it is the top of the gun, and it seems to be getting some reflection or something going on there. Okie dokie. And maybe a little bit of this here. The messed up basilicanum gray that I have. On the sleeve. So quickly everything dries here, it's bad. So bad. Usually I have a little bit more working time. So I will need to touch that up. It's a bummer. Nope, too light. Not working there. I'm not really happy about whatever's going on there. Okay. Too wet. It's weird that it settles that quickly. I do want to see the new Spider-Man, but the issue was I heard I did not know initially that it was going to be a two-parter, and I was kind of, steam was taken out of my sails a little bit because I just don't, you know, although it was, I guess it was scheduled for April next year. It does not look like it's going to be making that because of the strike, which is unfortunate. I mean, especially on an animated one, you'd think they'd, but the problem is I'm sure they're changing stuff as they go along here. You know, like updates to the dialogue, and so that's unfortunate. But I will see it. It's coming out soon. I will probably buy the disc. I'm sad that, I guess technologically they could not do a 3D version of it. But the one, wow, that's too bright. Well, I can fix that with some dark once it dries. They have like a bunch of different resolution rates, so they could not. I guess 3D requires a specific frame rate, obviously, like a consistent frame rate for it to work, maybe, and so they could not do it, and that was a bummer, because I'll tell you, that was a amazingly gorgeous movie in 3D. Ugh, keep overdoing it with this Apothecary White. Maybe it's got a little bit of the standard. Oh no, it isn't the Apothecary White. That's what I'm doing wrong here. That is the transparent white, or translucent white. Transparent white. I've never really used that one very much, just a tiny amount. I do like this Noir Spider-Man outfit. It's pretty great. So he's still got like a Spider-Man outfit, but Spider-Man, I keep saying it wrong. I don't know what's going on here. But I love it because it's, you know, Philip Marlowe / Spider-Man is cool. They have a shadow being cast here on the torso, which is kind of interesting. I do not have contrast medium out, and I probably need some. I usually don't put things on directly for fear. Hey, that went down. Usually my phone is plugged in, so usually doesn't drop off. I'm using it for the images. But yeah, I don't usually put the contrast paints on full strength unless I'm, you know, going for something specific, and I'm try to build it up when you're doing it like I'm doing it, where it's an a undercoat, you don't need to you don't need to have it as strong. Might not be strong enough there. It is drying so fast. But you can see like a shadow from his head on there. That's pretty neat. I was mentioning this sleeve tool. It is really fantastic. It's especially helpful to us because we sleeve our games for GameNight, and the list was cool before, but it was, it was pages and pages because Adam was good about putting every version of the sleeve that would work from the different manufacturers, especially as they came, and new companies would come along and stuff like that. And so it was a bit of a challenge, but now it's pretty clear. I don't know about the different manufacturer stuff. I know it's on there, but it's too gray. I mean, yeah, too gray, not dark enough. Funny, it's not really getting very dark. Let's go for a little bit more on that shadow. Too much paint. I don't really like to actually put paint on the palette with the brush, which is a common way to do it. I usually do it with the end of my the end of my brush. I have more control that way. Wow, this is dirty. This is dirty. Touch this up a little bit here to get rid of this dark spot. The best thing is to not touch it. Let it dry and it'll normalize a little bit. Wow, the palette is drying very quickly. It's interesting. So what is going on the base? It really is just black and white, or grayscale. Trying to get a little bit of highlights on these bricks. And you don't have to be too particular about it. It's not too hard to do. I mean, it's not. They're not going to be very strong because I'm using a diluted. Using a diluted amount of paint, so it's not super strong white, but very light gray. Very cool. I actually cannot wait for the Galactus. It really was amazing. Amazing in the darn it. In the cabinet. Really amazing. I really cannot wait to see it. It's been a little bit of time working on it myself. We'll see. So there's a little bit of, I know I cleaned this collar. There might be a little bit of plastic that was stuck around. We'll let him dry for a bit. We'll figure it out. I'm going to go to this one where I will absolutely be using a black, not a white right now. So this is the, let's see what this looks like. It's going to be all or nothing here. I might be repainting it, I hope not. But I want it to be black. Let me go look at that one and see what they did. I believe that is what they did as well. It's pretty black. There's not like a lot of shading. Neat, but let's let it dry and see. It feels like it's a little too thick, which is funny for contrast paint, but it may be just the amount of how quickly it's drying. So this brush has really, this is a number 2 from, it's the Tabletop Minions one from Monument Pro. It's great. It's a little too long. Let me see if I have a smaller one. I really do need a few new zeros and double zeros, double aughts, because they're, I'm kind of hard on them, which is unfortunate. This one's okay. This is the Winsor Newton Series 239, which I don't even know. I don't remember why I bought these, but it's actually not a bad brush. I'm sure it's synthetic. It doesn't say that. It's got a hook, although that might help me. It's a little too messy there. It's okay. Boy, the paint is drying so quickly. Everything is drying so quickly here. I tried really flat. This is actually, I use the, I don't know if, this is actually the Legion Black or whatever. It's, I like to use these for the base. It's Black Legion. I think Adam was the one that showed me that, Adam Smasher, that, you know, you use it when you paint, because I paint the edges black. So you come back in and use the, paint it with the regular black and then go over it with the contrast paint black, and it does a very good job of smoothing things out. It's really interesting. These are hard. Harder than I thought. how do I know what colors? I am actually using, so on, I mean, you can do whatever you want, obviously. These are comic book ones, so they're related. They're going to have a historical thing, you know, as far as precedent that you can look up online. But I am using, for example, here, I'm using this miniature, this painted, this is from Simon's latest update about the painted minis on the Marvel United multiverse set. And this is, you know, I'm going to use theirs since they got some people here that love this stuff, and they're using the, you know, I'm sure Marvel has to approve these, and so I just go with it so that I don't stress trying to figure out how to what to paint it. I can definitely take too long to make a decision sometimes, and I feel it is best to just get going with it and not spend too much time. So I'm mostly using those to inform how I choose the colors. Now, I did do something different with Gamora where her hair color was, I don't remember what her hair color was on there. Maybe green? And I wanted to do it like, let me see, I'm trying to find it here. I wanted to do it like her hair in one of the, sort of, like her hair in one of the Avengers, final 2 Avengers movies where she died. It was a red, so I just decided to go for the red. Now, there's a lot of red hair in these minis. Now, I could probably do something different with Black Widow, but I ended up doing red in her hair as well. And then we've got Jean Grey, or, you know, red hair there too. And I got Mystique with red hair. So there's a lot of miniatures with red hair here. But I don't mind, it's at least some color. And I really wanted to do her hair like that because I really liked it in the Avengers. I thought that was cool. So it's really up to you, but I'm using that as my starting point for sure. Too afraid to make mistakes? Cuz baby, it's not that much. You should go for it and maybe start with something less important. I mean, you can buy the main Marvel United set for next to nothing, and this is a great, you know, it's like under $10 sometimes, and usually about $15 maybe. I actually have another set that I've been starting to paint where I was dry brushing it, and dry brushing is a better way to get started as far as undercoating, where you don't have to spend a lot of money for an airbrush. But the real thing is just try it, you know, don't sweat it too much. I'm using, as you see, this is basically painted grayscale, and then I'm starting with an easy one, right? Although I will tell you, I'm going to jinx myself, but painting these dots feels like I'm painting eyes, and these are, you know, eyes are always a challenge. But these minis are quite large. Let me show you. Here's the Han from Star Wars. Oh goodness, what is it called? The game is out. Now this is okay. I still haven't gone back and actually finished him off. I was trying to do dry brushing. That's what I specifically wanted to do. It is Star Wars Imperial Assault. That's what it is. And I mean, this is cool, but it's tiny. And there's plenty more I can do on this. But I was doing a dry brush style on him, and I feel that these Marvel United minis are great to get started painting minis. As opposed to regular mini, very intimidating. I don't think it's really that hard. The mini, they're so big, and you really, like, I am so eager. I have so much fun painting eyes and things like that on these minis that I normally wouldn't do. You know, it's just too much for me to really. You kind of don't bother with it, but they're not that bad. And I really feel you just should go for it. The best way to actually, the quickest way to get to painting them is, dry brushing's cool. It's a technique that you do need to learn a little bit about. But rattle can spray paint it black as much as you can, and then go in and with a paintbrush afterwards and paint some black paint into the spots you didn't get. Now you can see here there's a little bit of red that came through, and I'm not going to worry about it. But then spray can some highlights. So the way it's supposed to be is you basically do it from above to give it. I would do a little bit at an angle. And then just go with these contrast paints or the speed paints. They're not that expensive. Speed paints are really not that expensive. And it gets you started. And here's the deal. You can clean these at miniatures. It's not that hard to clean them off. There are specifically strippers made to strip miniatures. The one that I have been using lately, I've only done a couple minis, but is LA's Totally Awesome, which is at the 99-cent store for like $1. I'll show you in a second that bottle. You just leave it in there overnight. Now when you clean it up, it'll take all the paint off. But when you clean it up, when you're done, you need to make sure you scrub as much of the cleaner off, because it will just, it'll mess it up. It, will continue to give you pain in the rear and will mess up your paint. So what I usually do is I actually use a brush, a toothbrush. Our dentist constantly gives us toothbrushes, and we use electric toothbrush. So these are fantastic for me to like clean minis. Let me see here. LA's Totally Awesome, right here. So this was it the 99? It's as seen on TV. I've never seen it on TV, but it does a great job of breaking it down. They say dilute it before use. I have never done that, but maybe. I don't really worry about it. I'm not trying to, it's not gonna, all I want to do is take off the paint, so I don't really have to worry about any kind of staining that it might have or something like that. But yeah, I think it's worth doing it, and not just get over the hump of like feeling concerned about messing it up, because I feel any effort to paint them is going to be welcomed by most people. And it is absolutely more fun to play a game with the painted minis. I did get a copy of Shatterpoint, Star Wars Shatterpoint at Gen Con, and I will be painting some of those at some point too. I would really like to do Marvel, boy, I can never get the names of these. Crisis Protocol, there we go. I would like to do that one too. There's a new set for that out soon, or out now, I guess. It was at Gen Con. And those look fun. And I don't really need more Marvel. I balked at buying the Zombicide, but I did buy the base game that was out. I think I bought it from Amazon. I don't remember. I should look it up, because I haven't found the game again. It's got to be in the house, but I don't know where it's at, and I feel like maybe I imagined buying it, but I'm pretty sure I bought it because it had like 7 minis in it or something. And that's all I really want to do, is just a little bit of them. I couldn't justify buying another large system. And the funny thing is Marvel Zombicide is more likely to be a Zombicide that I will play than standard Zombicide, although I do have, man, I never remember the name of it. Basically the one that is like 40K, Space Marines. Boy, Marvel, no, Zombicide. Oh, I can't remember. I have a couple things from it. So I want to play those. I'll try the regular Zombicide at some point, but I have some promos that I got. I don't know where they're at here. That are specifically for Zombicide, the 2nd edition, which I don't have. Hey, Tiny. Man, I can never see that. I have this in grayscale for some bizarro reason. Tiny Clans. And I really don't need it to be in grayscale. I don't know why. I think it's in like a power save mode, but it doesn't need to. It's a spare phone. I actually bought a replacement. I cracked the screen, and I got another one of the exact same model to use for a little bit, and then I ended up buying another phone pretty quickly. So it just is my watch the chat phone. But I think this looks cool. I mean, this is basic, right? I've just got the shading, and then I'm going to do these dots, and then I'll do, got ants. We've been having a little bit of an ant invasion. They're looking for water. It is dry. This poor guy got into the paint. Darn it. There's like little rockets shooting out of him or something like that. I know, I've never seen Spot before, so. But I'll paint those with some red and orange or something. But yeah, it's shooting a rocket out of his hand. I'm not sure, don't know anything about him. But that'll be it. And maybe a little bit of blue, but I think I'm just gonna go with the gray. I really like it. So I did one, actually I said I haven't done a grayscale. That's not entirely true. I did sort of, mostly gray. This was Kingpin. And I just airbrushed him and was very happy, other than I messed up with a little bit of, I think, skin tone on him, on his shoulder. And so I did the shirt and the cravat and the handkerchief and his skin and the buttons, and then I painted pinstriping on his pants. But I left the rest of him alone and then just primed it. And this looks, now I put a little bit of dark paint like in here to accentuate that, to make it a little bit stronger on all that stuff. But I mean, look how cool that looks. And that was a tiny amount of paint. Really, it was I think the longest part was me painting these pinstripes. And I, you know, definitely take that opportunity if you can. It's like, any chance to get more minis done quickly is certainly should be taken. So yeah, don't be afraid. It is really worth doing it. And that's what I say. So mixing your own paint is not that bad. What I would really do is start with a base of colors. So start with what you want to paint, determine your colors, and then just buy those colors. You can mix paints. I absolutely only had 26 of the original contrast paints from Citadel Games Workshop. So I had to make colors that I didn't have, and I would make better red, you know, not better reds, but more oranges and things, because I only had a couple. Like this was, to me, the only orange, and it's a yellow. When it's thinned out, it is yellow. It's weird. It's orange in here, and it could be orange. I don't think I have the Marvel United base box in here, but the Captain Marvel had kind of flaming hair, and it was the base of it. So I would like make a better orange with the reds that I had. I didn't have a super strong red. I mean, these are great, and when you thin them down, these are the two original reds. When you thin them down, they kind of look pretty red. That's most of the hair that I was showing you earlier is that kind of red. But I would just buy what you need and then grow from there. You could get a set. I mean, it's totally valid. The Army Painter has 2.0 sets out there. You could start with the basic set, and those paints are supposed to be great. I actually got room now to potentially try them. I don't want to go too crazy because I really don't need paints, but I would love to try them. I have not really had an opportunity yet. So I will probably end up buying that starter set and see how it goes, but I really don't want more paints. I actually kind of want a few more of the, wow, see, this is kind of the bummer about these pots, is they don't seal well. I would like actually a few more of the original set of Games Workshop Citadel contrast colors. But I think, you know, unless you're comfortable painting with regular miniature paint, you know, that's a opaque paint, and I love it. I've painted plenty of minis with them. These are all part of that set that I got, this set here from Games Workshop. They sent me this introductory set for the Leviathan box set that they have. Now these paints, I mean, this is a base and it really looks kind of messed up already. You really need to mix them, and I think it's a skill that is harder to do. Now, if you paint them and you just do the colors, which I will be doing some of these termagants here, I think they're termagants, gene stealers. I think I'm gonna try to do these with just base colors. You know, these two colors here, maybe. And then ink them, right? That'll be a different style that I don't normally do. And inking them is, you use what they call shades, or you can thin it out yourself, but I like to use shades. And then just shade it that way. That's a total way to actually get started if you want. But I feel you're gonna get more satisfying results with either doing this. This is Airbrush. I mean, I've recommended some, there's one it's a Chinese airbrush. The airbrush itself is not that great. It's okay. It's good, but it won't last, and it doesn't have, there's certain elements of it that are just not there, like the gaskets are not great. But the little compressor, which is right here, so this was like, I think this cost me $60. It's as much as $70, I think. This is a rechargeable compressor. It comes with an okay airbrush. So if you're gonna just prime, that's a good way to start. I do recommend buying a good airbrush as soon as you can, though. They are definitely, as I said earlier, I dropped my airbrush earlier today and bent the needle, which is a real bummer, but I was able to buy the part. I don't know that you can buy the parts for these inexpensive airbrushes. Now, they're not that terribly expensive, but they're not gonna last. They just won't. The gaskets are not, they're rubber. Most of these modern airbrushes I have use Teflon bearings and gaskets, and those are very durable and they last. I mean, I have airbrushes that I've had for 30 years that have the gaskets are still good. They're the original gaskets I had. So I feel that if you go with like something like that, or you do it with the spray can, like I said, you paint the whole thing black, then you paint basically white from above and a little bit at an angle. I mean, the real way you do it is all black, then gray at a 45-degree angle, and then white from directly above. I cheat that because I want their faces to be stronger. Like, you know, see, there's more on his face, but the rest of his body is already shaded, right? So any color, now of course he's gonna be mostly black clothing, but the shading's already there, right? And I will thin down the black and put that on there and try to have that shading continue to be there. But you can see they already look pretty great and they're shaded. So if you just put these basically transparent, mostly transparent paints over it, and one of the things I do, there's gonna be this is called technical contrast medium. There's absolutely a medium with the Army Painter speed paints, and then there's Vallejo's, boy, I cannot remember the name of their paints. Vallejo, they have their own speed paint as well. There's actually some other, it's not speed paint, but I mean it is essentially. But you need the medium, because the medium's a good way to thin the paint, not thin the paint, reduce the intensity of the color so that it can be a lighter shade and still be red and not pink. Like if you add white to make something lighter, it turns it into pink. This does not, it still kind of becomes a pink, but not, it's more red than pink. And you can build it up like I do. I will put it on, so for example, I did Daredevil, and you can see, I just put it over that shaded thing, and that is literally one coat of this red, fully intensity. I just decided to go for it, but usually I would build it up. So I did do that with the browns. The browns, I built them up, started with a lighter, you know, more of this contrast medium in there to thin it out, and then built it up for the gloves and the boots, and maybe the belt. It looks like I actually need to paint that top of that belt. But you know, that looks really cool, and it's very simple. This was a real simple miniature to paint so far. I'm not finished him. But let's see here, here's Electra. And she looks pretty cool. You can't see, it's not in focus. But you know, this was pretty quick. Just the red on there. I actually did go in and do the seams a little bit. They don't quite, they look pretty strong on the camera here according to the video display I'm looking at, but they're not really that strong. But these are cool, right? And this was quick. But you can also do the dry brush, so I will show you. I have 2 dry brushed minis here. Not Captain America. I have Black Widow and Iron Man. Her face is not 100% what I would be happy with, but it's not bad. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. You put this on the table, it'll look great, but I'm particular. Here is the original one I did from the original set that I actually did with the airbrushing, and I think I actually came back in and painted her face a little more, and I might do the same here just to bump it up. It bothers me, and it shouldn't really, because it looks fantastic already. And then I also did, let's see here, let's show you Iron Man, the two. So this one I did something different. I dry brushed it with metallic paints, and so silver and what is called a metal medium. Where's that at? It's right here. This is a Vallejo metal medium. There's many of them. So it's designed to be mixed with other colors, but I use it as the brightest metallic color. So I dry brushed the regular silver underneath it. I think I used, I don't remember. I think I used the silver from Pro Acryl. And then I did another dry brushing on top of that to give it so highlights with this metal medium. And then I just put the colors on it because I wanted him to look metallic. And then here's the original one I did, right? So this is dry brushing, which doesn't require any extra tools but a brush that you're willing to like beat up. Now, it's not done, but it's close. And they look different, but they both look great. And I really like how this metallic worked. It's not hard. I wouldn't really, it's worth doing, and it's worth getting started and not stressing about it. The reason why I love these miniatures is they are so good looking and large, right? You can encourage to do the eyes. Look at these guys here. This is like one I painted 22 years ago, probably. This is basically what I was talking about. You just do the main color and you're just painting them on. There's no shading involved. This is prior. I actually learned about doing undercoating with the zenithal highlighting before the contrast paints came around a long time ago. But what I used it for was to inform the colors that I painted on top of it because I was using opaque paints mostly. I did not do that with this, but this is not hard. I did the little gem on his chest and stuff like that, and that's kind of cool. But, and this looks great. I mean, I played games with this. It is not a problem. They're so good looking regardless. But to get started, here's one I painted. This was 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I painted in a standard style with standard paints. I would absolutely try to do this with contrast paints. I actually am looking forward to painting the Space Marines that came with that introductory set in a contrast paint method. This is very basic. This is dry brushed. This is airbrushed. This is this yellow. This is before they had a better yellow. And I'm not real happy with it, but it's not terrible, and it will be perfectly fantastic on the table. So don't be afraid. Get started. As I say, you can buy this Marvel United set, and Marvel United is a fun game. You can buy the set for $9 to $15, basically. The very first one, and it's got Black Widow, it's got Iron Man, it's got, what else does it have in there? It's got a bunch. Gamora might be in that one. Actually, I can't remember. But it's a great set, and it's 9 minis or 10 minis. It's totally worth it. I actually thought there were 9 in this new Spider-Geddon set. If it was available, I'd say get it too. It's fun, but it's not going to be available for a little bit of time. And it cost me a little bit of money. It was $35, which I think is just the regular list price, which is fine. I didn't have to pay for shipping, which I would have done if it was the previous campaigns, because they charged extra shipping to get the main box up front. And I did do it for both times. I did it for the very first Marvel United, and I did it for the X-Men one. And the Marvel United first one, I didn't even play the game until later, which was embarrassing and stupid. I should have gone for it. But we heard, don't get your hopes up. But I think the game's great. And it's basic. It's very simple. Although I say that, but my mom played with this when Nikki was in Minneapolis for a convention in 2021 in August, I think it was. And she did not do that well with it. My mom was having some troubles, but she's not a gamer. But it was fun. I thought, oh, this will be fun. Scott and I just basically ran it for her, which was a bummer. But my mom's 70. She was 74 at the time. But yeah, it's very simple, fun minis, not that hard. Definitely get started just trying to, she's feeling pretty good, Edwin. But yeah, they don't look bad with the dry brushing is super good. It is a really, you have to work on it a little bit. You know, you should, I kind of like how, oh, I've got the wrong one. Let's get her. I kind of like how her hair turned out on this one, better than the other one. This is my first one of this. Literally, this is one of the first minis I painted. But I think her hair looks cooler on the dry brush. And I think I might have painted a little bit of white on her chest to do that Black Widow symbol stronger. But you can see the dry brushing made these edges. I didn't do anything extra to those yet. That's all just dry brushing. And I think they look great. And you don't have to spend any extra to do it. It's just different, right? I do love the airbrushing. I think it's a very powerful tool, and you can do some cool stuff. Let me show you the dormammu I did. This I did a lot of airbrushing on this one, more than I probably have ever done on a miniature after it's being painted. I painted the orange of the hair thingy there. I did this over like it was glow. It's called OSL, object source lighting. So it's supposedly like this flaming part is glowing on his shoulders, so I sprayed a little bit of white, then I put the red over it. I did it like it's reflecting on the ground. I did that with the airbrush. I did that all in here with that little teeny rechargeable compressor, which is good. You know, I mean, that turned out okay. Now I did use I used a better airbrush. Here's the other one I did as well in here with the airbrush, which I don't recommend. You should absolutely do it in a well-ventilated space, and in here it is not. But I did the light color of the white, and then I put one of these contrast paints in the bottle over it to do it like her cape was collecting dust or whatever, you know, gathering dust. So, and then, you know, I went on here and did the edging with the paintbrush at an angle. It's not hard, and it's worth doing, and you can get good fast. Scott has not painted for a long time, and then 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, we started to paint this stuff together. And on the streams that you can find in our paint streams, I have to go check and make sure that all these things are going into the right list, but they're all in there, and you can see Scott do it. He did it all with a spray can, and he hadn't ever done anything like that, and it turned out really good. So it's worth doing, and it's not that hard. I really wonder what the deal is with these things shooting out of him. I need to find out what Spot is about. Maybe he's in the movie. I thought for sure this set was going to come out during the release of the movie, but it did not. But yeah, don't be intimidated. Yeah, Jolene, absolutely start with minis that you have. Horrified, I mean, that's a great example. There's, you know, like 6 or 7 miniatures in there. They're not hard to really paint, and you have them already. You know, don't necessarily spend to buy more games. The introductory set from GW, Citadel, is pretty cool because it actually comes with the clippers. You have to assemble the miniatures, unlike you do with these or the Horrified, as Jolene is saying. But it comes with clippers. It comes with a paintbrush. The paintbrush I got was actually a little messed up, but I've gotten it straightened out a little bit. Paints. It comes with 5 paints for the miniatures, and you know, these are all good paints. Citadel paints are fine. These are not terribly expensive, but you know, I think it's less paint. It's 12 milliliters. I think you get 18 in the, well, I have one of their bottles here. Let's see. I think you get 18 milliliters in the Army Painter paints, and that's more paint. So for the same kind of money, yeah, 18 milliliters. So for the same kind of money, you get a little bit more. But I really like, especially I love the contrast paints. I like most of the paints from Citadel. this is like my favorite gold. This I actually re-put it in a bottle, and I'm not 100% satisfied with the bottle, but this paint is amazing. Retributor Armor, one of the best golds. The one from the rich gold from Pro Acryl is very similar to it, and a really good paint as well. I mean, it's worth it. It's worth it, and it's fun, and you can get in very inexpensively and work your way up, but don't spend a lot. Make sure you enjoy doing it and grow as, you know, get more stuff, and as your technique improves, and do it, then don't spend a lot just to get started. I know many people that that were in our group back in the day when we were painting minis. They would spend all this money and then not be really sold on doing it. So that was a bummer, because it's not cheap, and it was cheaper then, because that was 20 years ago. So whenever they introduced a new army at GW, they would sell, I mean, they still do this kind of thing. They'd sell this big box, and I think it was $120 back then. I feel like that was the price. That kind of thing is now about $200 for that type of thing, even though basically you're getting 2 armies. So you can, the cool thing is when you do that with the new, let's say the new Leviathan, there's a whole, a good chunk of a Marine army and a good chunk of a Tyranid army, and you can just share it with a friend. You know, you can each take one of the armies. With Sebastian, we bought a box that came out last year, last summer, or yeah, last summer, it was August, and he kept the Eldar, or the Eldari as they're called now, and I kept the Chaos. I kind of wished I had the Eldari too, because normally I want them both, but I was like, you know, I really don't need it. He wants to get some, and so let's go for it. And it was fun. And we got that on sale at a hobby store in Germany. And I only cared about the minis. I didn't care about the rules, because they do have these cool little boxed sets. That's, you know, fine example. You can split it with a friend, and then you got the minis. But like Jolene was saying, just go with the Age of Sigmar tree army. Oh, neato. Cool. That's the smart thing, Jolene. Definitely just get some of it. Hey, David's on here. Got done with his duties for the day. Yeah, Pro Acryl is great. Their paints are not too expensive either, and they're very, very good. They, as I say, they have these transparent paints that are that was actually what I used as a yellow, was the Pro Acryl transparent yellow. Where is that at? So this is the one I've used a good amount, and it is straight yellow. That was what and you can see it's got a little bit of it's got some of the agitators inside the bottles. They put them inside the bottles. But you don't have to, I mean, contrast paints are great. But they're $7 or $8. Let's see, I have one here that has a price on it, right? Yeah. But yeah, they're not cheap, but they're not bad either. I have only replaced 2. I have not used, the only thing I've used up a bunch of is contrast medium, because you need it for all your paints, I feel. But I spent a small amount, and I have not used them up. I had to buy a new one of these, because I spilled it, but I still used it. It was my yellow, so I used a lot of it, and this new one still has a good amount of paint left in it. And then the other one I bought to replace was this Basilicanum Gray, which I also spilled, got screwed up. It's still a lot of paint in here, but it's, for whatever reason, the paint that they use, you know, to suspend it, you can see here, this one is unmixed. This is the bottle that I bought, and this is the other one. And you can see there's barely, I mean, I shook this earlier, but it's still not a lot of pigment in the bottom of the bottle. So they last a long time. It's really worth, they're really worth it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's just, if you want to get in for less money, go for the speed paints. They're supposed to be great. The new version is even better. I would really like to try them. I will buy some. and see how they go. I know that the original formulation wasn't bad, but some people felt that it would reactivating. Reactivating means that when you paint another color over it or more of, well, if you're painting the same color, it's not that big of a deal, but it's a problem. The paint would basically start to flow again, so your red would come through, and you don't want that. And so that was a downer, and I think that they have generally taken care of that. I do not have that problem at all with contrast paints. They don't have a starter set for contrast paints. That's why I say if you're going to go with them, just pick the colors you need initially. Don't spend a bunch of money. See if you would enjoy it. But yeah, this looks cool. It's not in focus here. Yeah, Plastic Army Man is a good example, Edwin. I mean, that is what many people recommend. I mean, I painted, my very first stuff that I painted was like Revell armies that my parents gave me. And those are great. I mean, that's what I get for goofing around here. But whatever you can to get started, just try it. It's not a big deal. They'll all look pretty good, and you can just start to get your technique down. Some people, recommend buying the craft paints. I don't really like them. I've only ever used them. Well, let me think. I'm thinking right now that I might have used them on this purple for that miniature I showed you a little bit ago. I might have used a craft paint. Now it has a varnish over it. But that purple doesn't look bad. That was a Deco or something like that. I think I got it at Michael's. It's okay. The problem is the pigment is not as fine. Now, these look okay. You can't really see it. But yeah, this was shining gold. This was my favorite gold, my previous favorite gold from GW. And then I think the green, I can't remember. So I definitely used some, but I have really kind of come to appreciate the paints that are, better pigments, finer pigments. Hey, I just messed this all up showing that. What a goofball. Well, I'll touch that up and fix it. I knew that was too much paint in there. Anyway. Wow, that's got other paint in there. Well, I think I was touching something else up. Well, maybe I'll do that here. I'm a goofball. Boy, the paints are drying so fast. Sorry, that's not in focus. But you can see I'm fixing it. It's not perfect, but I can get this looking pretty good. Now, this is much easier if you're going to paint another color over it. I am not going to be painting another color over it, so I'm going to try to blend this as well as I can. Just do it a little bit, building it up here. It's not so bad. But too much paint, and you can see it smeared it right out of the spot there. So let me get a little bit more on there. Touch that up. Yeah, don't do a lot of paint. That was my mistake, but I didn't realize I was putting that much on. My problem is these pots are hard to see inside, like how much paint you're getting on it. And don't be afraid to just dab some of it off. I should have. See, it already looks pretty good. You can't really see it. It's got a little bit of a shading there from it, me touching it up, but it changes. You have to be patient. Generally, the paint will dry darker than you put it on. So if it's a little light, if it's a little light, then don't worry about it. It often will shift down and be closer to what you might need. But mixing paints is actually a valid thing too. It's so you're going to get more predictable results if you use paints that have a single pigment, which is not many of the contrast paints. Some of them, of the new ones, have single pigments. But I don't worry about it. I'll tell you, I feel that they mostly came out the way I wanted them anyway. So there wasn't like they were all turning brown, which is one of the things that happens when you mix colors, that sometimes they come out, because of the different pigments in there, they come out brown, which is basically what you can mix any paint, some paints together and get some form of brown. I'm touching his head a lot here. I feel that I am taking my own, risking everything here, so I think I'm going to put it on the miniature holder. Another mistake is, you know, you don't need to buy a miniature holder. You can use, I have this piece of wood that I've used for many years here. It's just a piece of a dowel. Let's see here, here's the, let's just do this, might as well. And then I don't have to handle the miniature, because what happens is you tend to, my oils and stuff might pull this paint off. Now the primer is, I'm using primers here as my undercoating. They're solid, they do a pretty good job of sticking, but you still can mess them up. So your best bet is to not touch them if you can, and get used to doing it. You can actually steady the miniature better with this way too, if you bind them between your two hands. So I have a tendency, but I feel like the same song is playing on this thing. I suppose it has 8 hours worth of music. I made this playlist, so I don't spent over time. I need to look at it. So yeah, you see this is like shooting out of one of his spots. I don't know anything about this character. I need to look it up. But don't be afraid and just get started. Wow, Gorka Morka. I never played that, David. I would love to play that. Coal Black. Yeah, I mean, I have their black as well. I think it's a great paint. Right here, Coal Black. The white is really good. I mean, and a lot of people talk about it, but I have never found a white that I love entirely, and theirs is not 100% perfect for me either, but it's pretty darn good. And it is the best one I've ever used. So I don't know. White is a tough one. They say it's a smaller pigment. I thought it was a larger pigment. I can't remember now. But so the best way to like do white, I guess, is to actually put a little bit of black in it. I'm not sure why that's the case. Like I've used some of the paints, GW ones. You mix it and it's like it's gray. But when you put it on the mini, it looks white. So obviously with contrast paints, my undercoating is a standard acrylic paint. I mean, this is made for priming, but you get the standard coverage. I could have swore I had one. Oh, maybe it's that one right there. No, it's not. That's older. Oh, maybe it's this here. But yeah, you're gonna. It's opaque. It's gonna do a good job covering. these paints are generally more, now you can see this black is going in here pretty strong. These are generally more transparent. If you, absolutely, if you put some of the contrast medium in, it will be lighter. It'll be more of a gray. Keep seeing dots all over the place. Spot is kind of spotty. But yeah, look at what you have in your stuff. They do spray can. Yep, for that reason, that's exactly correct. Although I think the white I have here is white. It is a new, it replaced, I think, one of the other colors I really liked. This white scar, and it's pretty darn white. But yeah, the this one here, this is called Gray Sear. It used to be an I believe, I'm pretty sure, the reason why I have this bottle is I bought it so that you could touch up the undercoating if you had painted the wrong color on. And I don't think they make Gray Sear anymore. So it was a short-lived undercoating. It was one of the contrast paint undercoatings. You don't really need to worry about buying specific paints undercoats. This one is, it's just Citadel color, right? But this is their latest white. I'm bummed that they got rid of the Gray Sear. I liked that one a lot. I thought it was good. I liked it more than the Wraithbone. I think Wraithbone is still around. I'm more of a cool color person. So it doesn't bother, I don't know, you know, you're gonna affect the color that goes over it with that. So I'm not sure, like I never did Wraithbone as an undercoating. Actually, you know, the reason why I didn't do it at the time, because I bought this all in Dallas, my first contrast paints, either, I think it was before or after Gen Con. Hey, thanks for the follow, Smoopy. I'm painting the Marvel United Spider-Geddon minis, just getting started on them. This is my first chance to paint any of these. I got them during Gen Con a week and a half, almost 2 weeks ago. I think I picked these up on Saturday though. But yeah, I'm excited to try them out. I don't, as I said earlier, I don't really, look, he's like coming out of something there. His leg is stuck in that. I don't know anything about him. But I like these, I'm painting the two that are mostly grayscale right now, just to give the opportunity to do this. I painted started Spider-Man Noir earlier. He's looking pretty cool. I'm not sure about this. I was trying to follow what they have on their miniature. I may retouch that up because I'm not really in love with it. But he looks cool. And it was fun. You know, I mean, I like the idea of doing a grayscale, you know, monochrome, well, black and white film kind of look. It's really awesome. Boy, that is really not great there on his arm. So using, you know, a holder is great. Now I'll show you the other ones. This is the old GW one. They don't sell this one anymore. You can still find them occasionally, but these are nice because you just open the little jaws and it will be easily put in here, but it does go pretty easily. And you know, you can move it around. I also have the ones from Redgrass. Redgrass makes my wet palette that I'm using right over here. I'm not really using it too much, as you can see today. But this one's actually kind of cool because it, you put poster tack on it, the same type of stuff I have on this one. You put it on, but you can rotate the minis, so you can hold it in your hand and then just rotate it to paint. I like having a little bit more to hold on to for both hands because I feel like it is steadier hold on it, and my paint job is a little better for it. You have to get used to it a little bit, but you definitely, when you're buckling your hands together to hold it and painting that way, it does a better job. This one here, Hobby Holder was the original name. I can't remember. They've changed their name. But this is like you use bottle caps and you just change them. And then this little frame here is so that you can hold it and paint, and it really helps you stabilize. I barely use these though. I have some other ones from another manufacturer. Oops. So let me see here, get back to the photo. Hey Smokey, love the GameNight series on YouTube. Thanks so much. You're just watching an episode. Which one were you watching, Smokey? Smokey? The latest one is ISS Vanguard. Very long video. Fun to play it. I would like to play some more. I think we got it back. Aaron actually borrowed it after we filmed because he played it the starter level first without us, and then we did it again just to like get it under our belt because he felt it was too light, not much of a episode, so we did the first level. And even then, Nikki and I want to do more just because we really like the story of that game. So we'll see. It's always hard for us to get back to stuff though. I can't believe we actually did the whole of the main campaign of the initiative with Deborah and Aaron. That was so much fun, but we were having a great time. And so I reached out to the designer. I'm like, is it okay if we continue? He's like, oh, absolutely. He was so happy that we were doing it. And you know, the problem is it was 7 episodes. And nobody wants to spoil the game completely for themselves. So, I mean, people are now, because we did it 2 summers ago, people now are watching it after they've gotten through it, and they can see how we did compared to their campaign. But I really liked it. It was fun. Boy, it's not in focus. Why is it? Too many other things. I think I need to move these brushes as it rolls back into this shot. There's another one right there as his foot is coming out of the ground. Ugh. Darn it, this is going to be hard getting it in there. I think I'll be just happy with how it is right there before I destroy it anymore. I'm surprised he doesn't have any more spots on his head, just his face. There is a great, several of them, editions of like all the Marvel characters out there that you can use as a color reference. I have not bought one yet. Scott actually got maybe 2 of them. And I've been meaning to buy one. I actually have some gift certificates, so I might use them for that specifically. Because I think they were, the funny thing is I think they were Christmas gift certificates, so we still haven't used them in August. But they were both for Nikki and me, and I always want to try to get something that we both would appreciate, and she actually might appreciate that as well. So. I'm sure they give you like a little background about each character too. Ah, damn it. There you go. That might be the, well, I think they could fall off of any one of these holders. I think I'll be touching up a little bit of these because this has got a little bit of went over the circle a little bit, put a little bit of white on it. Two more under here. So I'm kind of floating it into these holes, so I'm not messing it up too much by getting outside of the hole. There's a few here that are kind of shallow, so they're harder to do this. Like, this is a simple technique, right? It just make it a little bit easier on yourself. Of course, I did that on the leg, and you can see now it's kind of a little too white. I'll have to fix that. This is a pretty great paint. This is the Black Legion. I have not used it before, and I really like it. Maybe I used it briefly, but I don't feel that I really have used it. I really do like the Black Templar, so amazing that they have two really nice blacks in the contrast paints. So for example, these are not going to really, they'll work. You can use the contrast medium to change the intensity, but I don't, they're not going to settle. I've never had it like do the way the paint works is as you let it soak, or dry, it settles into the crevices. So for example, here is a Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer Age of Sigmar figure. This was actually from one of the Shadespire sets, Warhammer Underworlds, and it just sinks into the cracks, and it. This is absolutely, I think, using that. It is absolutely using the gray sear undercoat, and this is just me doing it on top of there, doing the shading with. It's called a non-metallic metalish, non-metallic metal kind of technique that I did with non-metallic paints, or not trying to be metallic. And this was just, I did this with 3 different shades. It was brown to the orange, to this orange. This is one of the first colors I bought. That's so amazing that, even though I said I spilled the one. And then the bottom bit is this, it's a green, which I don't have here anymore. I mean, I have it here, but Plague Bearer Flesh? Is that it? Yeah, so this is the other one. So yeah, 780. This is one of the first ones I bought. So that was a little bit of that, the middle one, and then that other color. And I believe I bought the contrast medium from the get-go. So I was using it to do like these blends. It's not showing up, but the way that it settles and all that stuff is great. But with the blacks, you're not going to get that. It doesn't settle as easily. Because you're not, it's all black, right? It'd have to be like on the brightest surface, I think, to actually make it any different. Let's see if I can fix this. This gray here, it's too much white. Wow, the paints are drying so fast. Nope, too white. never can tell on these. I mean, I do okay on it, but I feel it needs to be darker. Of course, where is that? Oh, it's right here. Man, on the palette, this is very gray, and going on, it's much whiter than you think. It is really strange. Now the reality is it will dry darker, so it won't be 100% right, but it looks okay going on. Testing colors on one of the hydrads. Interesting. We do a lot of different types of games, Smokey. We're featuring what we're excited about. Sometimes it's stuff that Scott has seen that he thinks is great, and he knows what we like, and we just like to cover. I mean, we have pretty varied tastes. Number one. And it's fun. Part of what we like to do is just, oh, there's another 2 spots. Part of what we like to do is just introduce people to games that we think that they, would be excited to try. I mean, I saw somebody saying a video that, on one of the comments on our video, that, we have Deborah play terrible games, which I'm like, what? But they're not big fans of Dave. Which is crazy because Dave is amazing. He is the best teacher I've ever encountered. Really a great rules explainer. Oh wow, it's almost 8. Well, I'll wrap it up here pretty soon. I do need to call my mom. You're gonna hear that alarm go off. I try to call her every night, just to see if everything's okay. She doesn't live that far away, but it's just, I see her on the weekends. And I'm pretty sure we're getting to the point where we will need to come visit her because it's just, she's, getting around is a challenge. Definitely at night. She does not like driving at night. And that's rough. I feel for, because it's not going to be fun not being able to drive around. cool. I think that is all the spots. Let me double check. Oh, there's another one under her arm. Maybe I painted that one. I think I did. It just doesn't, it's so dark underneath you don't really see it. So I'm gonna put a little bit more black in there. Okay, so let me try a little bit of, I really don't know what is going on here. It's so cool looking though. So they're doing like an orange to a deeper red for these rocket blasts here. So let's just try this Griffhound. You know, this is an earlier orange too. I did not buy it right away, but I have gotten it since then. It was one of the first series. And that's actually pretty good too. I'm gonna try that and see if it gives me what I want. Probably not. It's weird, like they have a bajillion blues and greens and very few reds. There's more purples than there are reds. Maybe that's not true. But there are definitely a lot of blues and greens. So you have to shake these a lot. And so this is not a cheap, you can get some different price ones. This is called a Vortex mixer. This one is Lab Genius. It was like $70. The last time I looked, it was $100. I think that was too much money, and I don't know what the story was. But when I bought this, I think it was $70. And they can't be that price. I think it's just people have found out about them. I had this one for 6 or 7 years, maybe. It's been a while. Well, that may not be bright enough, but let's see. What we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit on the palette, and I am going to mix some contrast medium in it to see. It's pretty brown. It's got some orange too. Let's see what it looks like. I'm telling you, I hear these songs. Maybe I added them to the playlist more than once. It's pretty orange. It's still brownish orange. Okay. So there's a spot there that has like the blast coming out of it. So I think I need to paint that black too, but I kind of want to paint this orange first. What's going on? Movement in the house? Yeah, Nikki must be up and about. Yeah, it's not very bright. The other one might have been a better one. I will probably do a little bit of some of the yellow on here when it dries. He's shooting down. I feel that this should be shooting up. Oof. sounds like it might break, so don't mess with that. I think it actually was kind of metallic on that rocket. I think I will go with that and maybe ink it. So let's see what I have. Here's a good silver. This is a chainmail, so it's a brighter silver. So standard silver, they actually have, I heard they were okay. Army Painter has a silver and metallics. They have metallic contrast paints. I don't know what they're like. I definitely want to try them. I heard they're, you know, basically just sort of wash-ish versions of a metallic, but it seems like a good idea to me. So I'm basically I'm just washing this on so that maybe some of the shading that's going on here will stick. So that might be all I need to do, and then maybe ink it or looks pretty solid, and that's pretty thinned out, but it's not quite as metallic as it would be, but I don't really want it to be super strong. So you can see how quickly it's drying here. It's pretty dry already on this. So what I may do is put some of that yellow that I showed you a little bit ago, which I don't have out anymore. It is what I used many times to try to do some little effects with it when we didn't have a real strong yellow. There's a very strong yellow. As a matter of fact, that's probably what I should use, but I'll use this one. They have some really strong yellows now. This one here is a pretty great one. Contrast Imperial Fist. And I may end up using this one here. This Contrast Bad Moon Yellow. I feel these are single pigments maybe. Notice there's no dark color underneath. Let's see what this one looks like. Yeah, neither this one either. Although it could be single pigment. This one here now, you see it's yellow and kind of green. But when you shake it up, it'll be. So this is where you get it will settle into the folds and be darker. Yeah, see, that's kind of a brown, a olive color. He looks a bit holy. He does look holy. Any clue what the difference between transparent black versus black wash? Yeah, Nikki did a great job on that, Jaylene, for the teach. He shuffles tire better than anybody. Actually, I think I'm almost as good a tile shuffler as he is. But he's definitely good. He's actually a great shuffler too, goodness. I'm not sure. I mean, shades are like inks-ish. You know, they used to actually have inks. Their inks were actually inks. Now shades are kind of another offshoot. I have some of them here. Seraphim. So you can see there's pigment in this, so it needs to shake up pretty well. And they are designed to go on kind of smooth and then settle on the edges. I think a transparent one is meant to be a more even coat. There is the Calm Mom thing. I will snooze that because I actually want to try painting this a little bit here before we get off. So yeah, I think that's really ultimately what the difference is. They're trying to, yeah, see, this is not strong. You almost need to use a standard yellow paint. But yellow is you can't really see it. Yellow is a tough color because it is so transparent that it ends up looking, you know, you need multiple coats to get through. So I'm not sure that you would get the results you really want. That looks pretty cool. I mean, I don't know that it looks like flames. They do a better job on their paint job than I'm doing here. But what I may do is come in with a little bit of straight paint on it and do a bit of little bright spots, like it's jets of the gas coming out. Here, let me put some red. Ow, I really itch. I feel like I got bit. I got bit. Let's try Blood Angels Red. I think this is the more orangey, slightly colored one. Ooh, let me close up that metallic. This is an older bottle here. I think they've changed it since then. And yeah, this is made in France. I really liked their paints when they were made in France. So I can't believe, I thought that they'd switched to HMG or whatever in UK a long time ago. So who knows when I bought that Citadel Silver, which is amazing. That means that bottle's still doing okay, because these bottles are only okay. They're much better than the old ones, that's for sure. So let me put a little bit of that on the palette. So yeah, this is like the color I used for Black Widow's hair and probably for Gamora's. Boy, look at that stuff. These bottles are not good. But I actually like painting from the pots, as you've seen me do many times here today. So I don't know. Not many paints are actually in pots. So you can see, we just bring it into the palette into view. You can see that this is more red than orange, than pink, right? If I were to do this, that's what's great about the contrast medium, is it reduces the intensity of the color, but doesn't really get rid of the red. I may want more strong on here. I don't know, but it's not red enough. Oh, you know, I'm putting that on the wrong edge. Nice job. Should be closer to the rocket. Boo to that. It's okay though. Did the other one correctly, but didn't do that one. So, darker red towards the rocket. Is that correct? Yeah, that's what it is. I never get these colors together in my head with flames or these plumes of gases. I just never get it right. Although, I mean, I like it. I did the this here, you know, this was a different kind of thing. I actually mixed both. This is MODOK, where I used oranges and then straight yellow, and I'm kind of happy with that one. It's okay. He turned out great, just because that face is so massive and cool. I don't think I painted his eyes yet, though. Although I think his eyes are white, so maybe I did do that. So do I have a straight yellow? I don't think I have a straight yellow anymore. Yes, I do. Ugh. I have these ones from Comart, which is Medea, which is Iwata. I got these in the kit. I actually got a kit of paints from them when I bought that Iwata airbrush. So let's see how these go. Looks like there's a cap in there. I've never used them, but it is a straight yellow and is not translucent or transparent. Yeah, see, it's got a cap. I might just pull this out and put some paint on it and put the whole thing back in. It'll definitely last for a long time. I've got paints that are 20 years old. Oh no, 30 years, nah, 20, 25 years old. Look at that, it's not so great. Harumph, I say. Get a little bit out of the bottle. Oof. It is not shaken up enough. This is not very old either, but who knows. Let me put that cap in there again. Yeah, I don't know how good this paint is. I don't know if it's actually airbrush paint. He's saint-like is what he is. There's a lot of shaking, and I could make a mistake here because I don't really have the lid on it. I just have that little cap. Let me turn it upside down and put this on because I don't want to spill it, but I want to shake it on the top end too. Okay. Oh, this is better mixed. It looks pretty good. But yeah, I need to actually buy some standard paints. I don't have much. Okay, that's not very good. But it'll be fine. Hansa Yellow. I would think this is meant for airbrush and paintbrush. Okay. It almost looks like the transparent, it's more paint, more pigment. Okay. Let's do a few little. It's a little, I may need to drop those down a little bit with some orange. It's okay though. And I should let it dry to see what it actually is doing. A little too much probably, but okay, let's see how it goes. Snooze. I gotta call her. It's kind of cool. Paint is drying fast. And it's really crazy. The palette is drying out really fast too. It's crazy. It's hard to paint like this in this weather. So you can't, I mean, I feel, oh, that's really strong there. I feel you can't put what they call it, retarders in your paint in contrast, because contrast paints are different. But your regular paint you can, but I mean, I'm not painting enough standard acrylics right now to justify doing it, but that might, and it's on a wet palette. The wet palette should handle it. So, let me try some of the, see if I can reduce a little bit of the intensity of that stuff. Wow, it's pretty bad on that rocket on his hand. It's okay. I'll let it dry. And see, I think it looks pretty good here, but it doesn't look so great here. So I might need to put some of the dark in there, but we'll let it dry and see what it looks like. I will have to go. This turned out cool. Cool-ish. I only got 2 done. I was hoping to have 3 done. I mean, I don't have 2 done. I've got 2 close to done. I gotta figure out what he is doing. His leg is coming out of the ground, you can see here, and there's like a glow. Maybe that's to the rockets, like an OSL kind of thing going on. They have it get very dark on the end. Now you see I'm totally not done yet. Too red. That's cool. Looks good. Who knows what's going on there? A little gas, off-gassing. Okay. Let me cut to the other camera. I will be back on Tuesday morning to continue painting. Let us see if we have anybody that we can raid. The Brothers Mirth are probably already done if they were streaming today. Can I do that here? I don't even know if I... Yeah, I can. Creator dashboard. Nope. Stream manager. They changed it again on me. Okay, there we go. Let's see what we have on there we can raid. Folks on YouTube, I'm sorry you can't do that. Join with us on that, but thanks for joining me there. Let's see, we've got. Oh wow, Wapelius. We're gonna go visit Wapelius. Wapelius paints with oil paints, and he is a fantastic painter. His wife passed away recently. Definitely check him out. He is a phenomenal painter. Completely different style than what I'm doing. Please say hello. He's so, I don't know that he's doing minis, but let's see if it'll do it. But yeah, he's wonderful, and give him, I don't know that he'll know who the heck I am, but I sure love his paint style. Everybody take care. Have a great weekend. We will be back. I'll be back on Tuesday, and Nikki and I will be back on Thursday playing some games. And I will continue with this stuff on Tuesday morning. Take care, everybody, and have a great weekend. And as I say, join on the raid if you can. If not, I don't know if it's doing it here. Maybe he has it blocked. Ready to raid. Raid now. Okay, everybody. Take care. I think we did it.